Imagine not having a solo hit as a leading man since 2012 and the production company that you have worked with since the start of your career comes up with the bright idea of reviving an IP that was a disaster when it first released, and its sequel in 2026 ends up being your highest grossing opening day of your entire career. Not only that, in its first day, it has crossed the lifetime run of the first film that released almost 20 years ago. This was wildly written in the stars, but more importantly, is the movie even good? There was bound to be skepticism when Awarapan 2 was announced, as it comes in the environment of Hindi cinema where filmographies of actors look like OTPs rather than film titles, each one trying to revive an old IP in order to bank on the nostalgia that everyone has romanticized in their head. While most of these ventures are ending up being absolutely terrible in quality, I went in hopeful for Awarapan 2 due to the director associated with the film. Not Mohit Suri, but Nitin Kakkar directs the sequel, a creator who has previously directed ventures like Filmistan, Notebook, Jawani Janeman, and an extremely underrated film with Kumud Mishra titled Ram Singh Charlie. A filmography that consists of great films and, even at his worst, ventures that are above average. Awarapan 2 follows the life of Shivam, played by Emraan Hashmi, after close to 2 decades having passed since the death of Alia, played by Shreya Saran, in the first film in 2007. In the first film, we saw Shivam doing the dirty work for Bharat, played by Ashutosh Rana, and the moral dilemma that creeps in when he has to decide between killing Reema, the young mistress of Bharat, or allowing her to leave and escape with her lover. This moral conscience, of course, kicked in due to his own personal experience with Alia, where he showed cowardice looking out only for himself when he lost her. Shivam learns from Alia's act of letting birds free from a cage. किसी बेबस जान को आजाद करना दया नहीं इंसानियत होती है, and betrays his boss to ensure Reema escapes with her lover. The events happened in Hong Kong, and now we are transported from Rajasthan to Bangkok, where the same Shivam finds himself in the midst of a gang war. He is assisting a crime boss and is being the shadow, aka personal security, of his sister and brother called Zara and Sikandar, played by Disha Patani and Anirudh Raval respectively. Shivam has the same pensive expression and body language, a man of a few words who bears the weight of the guilt associated with Alia's passing, something that he still hasn't gotten over. I will not give away the major beats of the screenplay because the 1 minute and 25-second trailer literally made sure that everyone explores everything in theaters, but it was made pretty clear that the theme of caged spirits deserving freedom comes in contention with the unhinged crime boss, and the madness that follows involving several characters from the crime syndicate and Shivam fighting them as a lone warrior forms the ride that you are signing up for. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Awarapan 2 in theaters or not. Pales in comparison, but still an effective album. Even though the practical brain in every millennial's head computes that Awarapan was a commercial flop, but the music was all the rage for us. I was watching Rang De Basanti recently, and in a scene, Anupam Kher dismisses Siddharth as the SMS generation. And I can't believe that we were called that, but the MP3 files, the cassettes, CDs, and reruns of music albums was all the rage in the 2000s. It's tough to match up to the vocals of Mustafa Zahid and Tophe Rao. It's tough to recreate the magic of what he also brought to Tera Mera Rishta Purana, so much so that the makers were compelled to integrate renditions of them in this film too. I won't lie that the recall value of these classic hits, the makers even know the feeling that it generates, so much so that in the first 15 minutes we got Tophe Rao, and in the climax we got a rendition of Tera Mera Rishta. I must say, without making it a comparative analysis of albums, because no one can match the pining, yearning and heartbreak that the original album had all of us feel, so much so that I was blasting it in my room the day Vedika from 7th grade ignored me, but I really loved some of the tracks in the sequel too. Even though I feel like a lot of the album is aiming to emulate the same feeling where rock for emotional moments in film was such an active part of Hindi films, both Ve Junoon sung by Subodh Sharma and Ye Awarapan sung by Arijit Singh absolutely highlight the deep sense of aching that resides within Shivam. While the other elements of the album are renditions of old music, there is a surprise element in the album that truly resonated with me. The song titled Lado sung by Jubin Nautiyal so perfectly fits the scene in which it is placed. I wish they had the foresight to use it in the climax too. It's heartfelt and genuinely comes out of nowhere because it explores a theme I had no idea would become a core element of Awarapan 2. You remember us talking about the beauty of callbacks a few days ago? This movie doesn't utilize it well. I have to confess, the peak of what the 2007 album made us feel cannot be achieved, but the music album is just serviceable and apt for several sequences of the film. Mixed performances and tropes. The ensemble cast generally boasts of solid talent, but they are either hard done by because of the limited screen time that they have, or just don't have enough material to contribute to the storyline. Suvinder Vicky plays one of the henchmen of the gangs and doesn't do anything spectacular. Shabana Azmi looks the part of a badass female gangster, but she's not particularly menacing or even has dialogues or moments that will make you tremble with fear. Disha Patani genuinely looks pretty. It's not as if her character is of no consequence, but you feel nothing regarding her role individually, and you absolutely feel nothing regarding even the hint of a romantic relationship between her and Shivam. She looks beautiful though. The one thing that I find very 2000s coded is the portrayal of Sikandar by Anirudh Rawal. As I said, there are some isms to Vishesh films that are stuck in a time machine, and Anirudh plays this mentally challenged man who has not psychologically matured, and it is one of the most broad strokes portrayal of a rather nuanced condition. You know, it's an extension of if one is differently abled, they are associated with toddler-like theatrics, and it's extremely distracting to see when amplified as he remains unaware of any large threats around him while being by Disha Patni's side in every scene. Their condition does not necessarily mean that they are absolutely ill-equipped to even understand danger or react to basic stimuli around them. He is inconsistently written, well versed to understand basic emotions and complex ones too, but completely unaware in others. The makers resort to making him a caricature versus a person you emotionally empathize with. Cinematography. The one aspect of the film that stuck with me the most was how well shot the movie was. I grew up in an era where Vishesh films and Sanjay Gupta films were extensively shot in Southeast Asia, and I must say that the cinematography of this film by Vishnu Rao is extremely top notch. We are transported from Rajasthan and to Bangkok, and the practical locations genuinely enhance the experience you have on the big screen. This is especially true for the visuals associated with Ve Junoon and a sequence that involves monks, which in the most filmy way possible ties into the destiny of Shivam and the powers beyond mortals, allowing for souls to be freed. I won't lie, it looked stunning visually. Mid-action choreography. I don't mean to diss Emraan Hashmi at all for what he is physically capable in pulling off, but hand-to-hand combat is just not his forte. He is 47 years old and looks in peak physical shape, but the action set pieces are designed for leading heroes who should have been nimble and quick on their feet. Other than one sequence that includes a fight in a container when there is actually a long shot of gunshots and a knife sequence, the dark space only getting lit by gunshots was brilliant. It reminded me of what Christian Bale was associated with in Equilibrium, or what they did with Robert Pattinson in Batman in the Hallway. It's very effective in Awarapan 2 as well, but that's the only scene. The rest of the action choreography is inundated with choppy editing. Each kick, punch or blow cuts away at the point of impact. There are action set pieces that take place in a jail, a street brawl in the rain, a car chase scene that doesn't try anything substantially creative, a completely illogical set piece where Emraan Hashmi brought back memories of The Undertaker and Kane fighting a buried alive match in the Attitude Era, and even magic tricks involving bullets that would put David Blaine to shame. For a gritty action thriller set in the streets of Bangkok, it genuinely needed the unhinged immersive energy of a film like Khuda Hafiz, and what Vidyut pulled off so well in that movie. It's visually stylistic, but it doesn't blow your mind away from an action perspective at all. Messy climax and stupid villain. One of the only ways a very predictable action thriller could have elevated to becoming this brilliant film beyond its IP recall value would have been had the villain in this new tale been genuinely intimidating. And I don't want to dunk on a new actor like Puran Gabbi, Vamika Gabbi's brother, who plays the role of Zorawar, but he does not feel like an ultimate threat that the audience should fear. There is something that Vishesh Films has for these psychotic and deranged characters that is very 2000s coded, and it is not aged well. They are essentially associated with performative theatrics, over-the-top physical performances that are aimed to denote that the characters are unhinged. It's mostly associated with them being drug addicts and alcoholics and just being, bigdi hui aulads, which can work well when it is slightly rooted, but from what I noticed, Puran Gabbi as Zorawar is not largely different from what Purab Kohli already did in the first film. Puran tries his best, but as the movie progresses towards the climax, his decisions become progressively aggressively dumb. The number of times individuals had a chance to eliminate Emraan Hashmi is laughable, and the villain in the climax literally starts playing games that make no sense at all. There is literally a point where he is so angry that he says, "Main 10 tak ginunga," and he starts saying 5, 4, 3. It's like he's not even listening to his own instructions. I understand that the entire point was to have this manic and wild energy as if he is jumping off of walls, but it became inconsistent and largely ineffective as the main antagonist of the story. Emraan Hashmi and identity. The reason for the hype associated with the film, the reason why I tune in on the first day first show for this film is because of Emraan. And I must say, as Shivam, Emraan does a more than good job in making us feel like we never left Shivam and the aching sadness that he still holds on to. There is an emptiness in the longing that Emraan has, a distance that he wants to maintain with every relationship he has, for he never wants to feel so broken and so aimless like he did years ago. In a scene where he is given terrible news, he cannot accept it ever being a reality. He oscillates between denial and completely having an emotional breakdown, and I genuinely was invested in Shivam's journey from within. The problem is, I couldn't care less about these warring gangs, sibling rivalry, and scuffles in Bangkok. The relationships are not allowed to be well established, are poorly written, or not given enough screen time. You are invested in Shivam and not anyone else, and this precisely made me conclude the biggest problem with the film is that its identity is heavily tied into the first film. The premise of warring gangs in Bangkok in the sequel is forgettable at best. Your engagement with the film happens merely by the association or memory you have with Shivam and his quest to fight the right fight. Millennials, and I know 70% of them are viewers here, will come in hordes to witness it, and I'm personally happy for a star like Emraan to finally get monetary recognition as a lead, but it's noticeable that every time there is a dip in the screenplay or you are disconnected from the storyline, the makers provide you callbacks in the form of music, montages, and even characters being imagined from the 2007 film. When you objectively strip away the film from the identity of its IP, it is just a serviceable at best, predictable action thriller. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Awarapan 2. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.